All right, folks, welcome in here to the No Stall Zone Live with Dom Zacconi, folks. We have an absolutely loaded show here tonight. Okay, we're covering everything from the Pan Am Championships, the World Team Trials matchups coming up this weekend, folks. Tom Houck, president of Claw Wrestling, going to be calling in. Okay, we're going to be talking about Claw Wrestling. The Real American Freestyle Wrestling League is out now. We're going to be asking him about that. What's that mean for them? Can they coexist? A lot of that. And then obviously, some of the recent news. It's been a couple weeks since we've been on, folks, but Bo Nickal lost and the Kyle Snyder news. We will talk about it all, but we do have Dom Zacconi here. Dom, how you doing, man? Welcome back.
Hey, Zach. Whoa, flying in on right on the intro. I don't know if you saw that. We could slow-mo it if you want. But thanks for having me back. I know it's been a while. Thanks for having me back out. I'm excited today.
Yeah, man. Dom's got a lot of stuff going on and in his life behind the scenes, and so do I, folks. This is one of the last shows we'll likely have in this studio as I'm in the middle of two houses and moving. But, yeah, let's get right into it, folks. We got a loaded show, absolutely loaded show here. But first, I want to start with our comment of the week, which comes from our last show. And Abnormal Pecker, interesting name there. Sounds great to me. By the way, the dope in the chair, bottom right, when he can't pronounce Bischoff. It's comedy gold. So, hey, Eric Bischoff, the WCW guy and one of the representatives of Real American Freestyle Wrestling. Dom, I don't know. I got to admit, folks, I was not a WCW guy. I didn't watch any of that growing up. I didn't get it. Until I got older. Then I understood what it really is all about. What about you, Dom?
You know, it's a tough name to pronounce. I've been backlash for pronouncing names wrong on here, too. And it's cool. I think it's cool that Claw's getting competitors. Claw's already so established. And obviously, we haven't seen anything with RAF yet. And I'm excited to see what they bring to the table. And if it helps make Claw better at the same time, vice versa, they kind of help each other out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, folks, We'll get into it more. But, hey, join the comments. We can put your comments up on the screen. We are live. There is a link to call in. However, we have a loaded show, so you might not get through till the very end if you do. But join the comments in the least. And, folks, we'll get right into it. The breaking news here this week and the unfortunate news. Kyle Snyder arrested here. I'll quickly read the very brief official statement here or report in the news here. Former Ohio State wrestler, gold medalist Kyle Snyder arrested on part of a prostitution sting. Columbus Division of Police confirmed on Monday. Said the police's division conducted undercover operation in the city's north side on May 9th. The operation was aimed at reducing prostitution. Around 8:15, officers began receiving text messages from a man. It was Kyle Snyder. He arranged a nearby hotel. 20 minutes later, it was Snyder, arrived at the hotel and basically was arrested. So, Dom, this is a very, very unfortunate situation, and it's a very delicate situation, and it's an ongoing situation. So it's really something that you kind of want to be careful what you comment on. But I'll say this. I mean, there are a couple things that, and Dom, I'll give you a chance here then to talk about it. But there are a couple of things that I've seen, and I guess people talking about it, that kind of I want to mention and comment. Let me find my notes because this is something that I did. So here's the thing, folks. The first thing I think that I want to say first, I don't want to hear any victim cards. So there's a lot of talk out there, and I know police officers, and they're saying blaming police officers, entrapment or something. No, I don't want to hear any victim card pulling out of nobody. Like, Kyle Snyder's got to basically own this. Like, that's really number one, right? But I think my biggest takeaway from all this, terrible situation. I pray for him and his family, and I hope they can go work through this. But to me, Dom, there's a silver lining in everything, right? I see a silver lining in this, believe it or not. And to me, what a great opportunity, folks. If you're a parent out there or you are a coach of wrestlers, what a wonderful opportunity, a learning opportunity, a coaching opportunity for your kids or your wrestlers to teach them things like, I don't know, you got to be able to separate the art from the artist, right? Or like an athlete's accomplishments maybe from an athlete, like what they do. I'll say this, I never bought, I don't wear other men's jerseys. I have jerseys, but I had them made with my name. I'm not a big jersey wearing guy. I'm not big on like admiring. You should admire people, but you gotta be very careful. And you know what I mean? Like, my point is, this is a great coaching opportunity for your kids or your wrestlers, in the fact that you got to be able to separate the art from the artist, okay? You can idolize. Don't worship. Do not be worshiping living men, right? Like, because no one's all good and no one's all bad at the end of the day. And everyone has faults, and we all make mistakes. And I'm not here to criticize and bash down on Kyle Snyder, because I don't think that's the right thing to do. He's going to pay his price, folks. And I don't think it's really right for anyone to try to bash him down, dude. We're not here to bash anyone down, but I think the silver lining takeaway here might be very good coaching opportunity. But Dom, that's my kind of initial thoughts, man. What are your takeaways here?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing in wrestling, upon like besides all the winning and stuff like that, is what can you get out of it, right? A lot of wrestlers you try to become the best person you can, the best version of yourself, and that's what's portrayed in wrestling. That's what we get out of it, the gratitude. You know what I mean? Become the best husband, best father, vice versa, best wife, best mother. And when we were watching Kyle Snyder, like, he portrayed all of that to us. And no one's perfect, so you kind of just got to be careful out there, and you know what I mean. You got to know no one's perfect. Um, and I think you're right. He's got to own up to it, kind of just take it on the chest. I don't know what this means to him and his community and his sponsorships and all that. There's a lot that comes with it. We've seen it in the past before. There's a lot that comes with it. It's probably going to be really overwhelming at first, but it's how he responds to all this and moves on and, continues his life, because it could either go two ways: up, and he could keep going up, or drastically down and kind of just bottom out. And, as being a human being, you know what I mean? I don't want to see anyone lose their life over this and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
I hope he responds the right way, basically.
Yeah. No, that's well said, Dom. And I could not agree more, man. It's really about what his actions are here going forward. And really, I can say the same about Bo Nickal, who we'll talk about here as well. But, this doesn't take away what he's accomplished in wrestling. It doesn't. And unfortunately, he's going to get kind of degraded on social media to the point where it'll kind of seem like that. You know what I mean? But, yeah, it's just a very unfortunate situation. Like I said, I'm praying for him, his family, everyone involved. But at the same time, dude, I don't want to hear any victim cards, because, look, you can say, don't be acting like the police. This is a Target session or something. No, this was in Columbus, Ohio, the capital of Ohio. It's a big city. And let's be frank about, like, prostitutes in general, right? Like, in general, prostitutes, they're not doing it at will. You know what I mean? They're likely under the influence or pressure from someone else who's making them do that. Like, that's the general census in that industry. So, there's going to be other people involved, and that's not a good thing. And you just, you root for the best for everyone going forward in the situation. And like you said, we'll see. It's all about how you act from here forward. But let's not act like none of us have made mistakes. But at the end of the day, he didn't murder anybody. He didn't murder anyone. Yes, it was bad, but it was a murder.
That is true.
It's so there are levels to crimes, but all right.
He can come back from this. He can come back, and I do believe, and we'll talk about it, I do believe he does plan, I guess, as of now, plans on continuing to wrestle at what is it, Final X? And yep, is he would be locked in a Final X.
We'll see.
Or did he? Did he? Yeah, I don't know.
And
did he win? Did he place at the Olympics?
I thought he did, but
or the
I
World
did see a
Championships the
report.
year before, I believe it is. I believe, yeah. He's in Final X, I think.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's the plans. Along with he's in the Real American Freestyle. We'll get into it, but folks, we'll move on here quickly because we got a lot to cover. Loaded show here tonight, and that's what that is. Moving on here, we got to talk about Bo Nickal. Bo Nickal suffered his first defeat here. Okay, now everyone's freaking out, dude. Everyone's freaking out, right? Can Bo is he a UFC fighter? All this, but I want to give you my reaction, Dom. I watched the fight a couple times. Now I'll give you my synopsis here. What happened to Bo? First of all, you saw before the fight, he had to lose 35 pounds or something in 3 days. I thought, not good, Bo. UFC, you know what I mean? Then, if you watch that fight, De Ritter, okay, very clearly had a game plan. And his game plan was to only attack Bo's body. And if you watch that fight, I don't think he threw a single headshot, didn't even attempt one the entire first period. It was all body. He had a game plan. Bo did not see that coming. First of all, and how many times has Bo really taken body shots like that? So, and Bo wasn't really prepared for that. He's protecting his head, you know what I mean? So, body shots. Then Bo got the initial takedown, but the Ritter's defense was incredible on bottom, led to the reversal, rode him out basically not quite until the end of the first period, but almost. Bo's taking body shots the whole first period, then gets reversed and ridden out. My question, and he lost 35 pounds in 3 days leading up. At this point, end of the first period, how exhausted is Bo Nickal, right? This is clearly not the 100% Bo Nickal after this first period, right? And then we go out, we start the second. Heavy knees were landed to Bo early in that second round, and I think that's what ultimately did him, was a heavy knee early. And then once Ritter saw that he was visibly hurt, then and only then did De Ritter throw, I believe, his first headshot attempt. And it wasn't even a headshot. It was kind of a fake out. It was kind of like, I just want to get your hands up back to defense your face so I can continue at the body, before he ultimately did finish him off with a body blow. And Dom, let's get your thoughts and the Bo Nickal fight.
UFC, or MMA in general, is so interesting because it's a patience game. It's a attack. It's a defend. There's so many factors that go into it. And Bo cutting 35 pounds. It's a wrestler thing, I feel like, and a fighter thing. Like, it just happens. But honestly, so after some of those really hard weight cuts, you actually compete better. Sometimes, I don't know why it is. Maybe because you're like all hyped up that you made it, and now you're like, it's time to go. Like, I've been there before where I've had a terrible weight cut, and having to turn around the next day and wrestle is like, oh, I feel great. How's this even possible after a 1 hour weigh-in? And I think Bo, I love Bo. I think he's very confident, which is a good thing. But game planning would be, awesome. And I love how Khabib would stick to his takedowns. He wasn't too good at striking, would stick to his takedowns and just ground and pound. And I honestly think Bo is a top level athlete in anything he does. And if he stuck to, his bread and butter of takedowns and ground and pound, like, dude's a world level wrestler. Like, there's not many of those in there in the UFC, especially. So, like, I think he could do some real damage.
Well, and we got UFC Drew here. Drew, you there with us? That you're kind of touching to the point that Chael Sonnen mentioned and talked about, which is maybe Bo got away from his wrestling too much, as ironic as that would be. A UFC expert, though, the most UFC expert I know, Drew, UFC Drew calling it. Drew, what are your thoughts? You know UFC more than anyone I know.
All right. First off, Zach, thanks for having me on, man. It's been a hot minute since I've been on here, especially live. I don't know if I've ever been on here live.
Make it good.
Yeah, quick, how you doing, Dom? Nice to meet you, man.
What's going on?
Yeah,
nice to meet you too.
My take on Bo, man, it's there's praise there for sure. I think he looks like he hits very powerful. He looks like the power's there. It looks like he's got the, like Dom said, he's an athlete. You can see that. But UFC, there's levels to this. And you jump, he did the Contender Series and he did all that stuff. But there's levels to it. And when you get to the UFC and you start going up against people like even Paul Craig, I mean, he couldn't even submit him knock him out. And this dude's almost 40 years old soon. Paul Craig hasn't won a fight. Now, granted, Paul Craig fights this weekend. If he wins this weekend, it'll be his first win in 2 years. Okay. The other guy that he fought, Cody Burnage, just won his first fight recently within a month, and that was his first fight win in over 2 years. So we start to think, is Bo good at beating bad people, or is he good as a fighter? And I don't know if he's UFC good, man. I don't. I think I watched that fight again after watching it live. I think he lost the first round. It was close, but the big difference here is the wrestling, man. If you can't transition that wrestling into mixed martial arts, it will go nowhere. And unlike the wrestling mat, there is a cage. And where you normally would shoot and take these guys down, these guys are so good at sprawling and they're going against the cage. And then as you watch the fight, the whole first round, it was a clinch. It was 3.5 minutes of a clinch work against the cage. He finally got a takedown, but RDR got him down too. And Zach, to touch up on your topic with RDR, his striking, yeah, he had a game plan. Also, RDR cannot strike. Like, very bad striker. In fact, he got booked for his next fight against Robert Whitaker, which I think he'll lose that fight to Robert Whitaker. But
that's a tough one.
Going back to Bo, interesting. The biggest takeaway I had, the two things on Zach real quick. Josh Thompson, UFC fighter, said that the UFC should consider releasing Bo Nickal for the time being. And I know it sounds like an exaggeration and it's overdone, but I don't think he's wrong by that. He was unranked. He went against a guy who's 34 years old in RDR. He's only had 3 fights in the UFC, including Bo. That's RDR. Now he submitted Kevin Holland, he's a journeyman, but he's got a name behind him. Kevin Holland's very good. He beat Jared Mershard, and then he also he knocked out Bo with a knee. So to me, where do you go with Bo? What do you do with them? Do you fight him, have him fight guys that aren't ranked again and no one cares, and then you move him up and then let him develop? They did the same thing with Mason Jones, who just came back. They brought him back, and Mason Jones looked really good his last fight. In fact, he really pieced up Jeremy Stevens in that pay-per-view.
Does Mason Jones have?
The door shut. What's that?
Does Mason Jones have a high presence? Has a lot of people behind him, like that presence that Bo has, by any chance?
No, and
I think that's
the only reason why you keep him. Yeah, for sure. People want to watch him fight, especially his next fight. They got to see how But I don't even know who you put him in there against. Where do you go with this? They keep it. You almost have to have it like another kind of on the outskirts fighter, coming over from PFL, Bellator, someone like that has a name appeal, but at the same time, that guy can't fight. I thought Bo could with the wrestling, with Khamzat and all them, but I don't. There's no way. There's no way it happens. This
might make it better too.
Oh, yeah, definitely make him better.
Yeah.
But his thing was, he had some. He did the Ariel Helwani show right after he lost, and everyone was in favor of him. Like, he was very empathetic. Was like, hey, maybe I rushed into that. Was everything that we thought kind of was happening. He said the next day he gets on his podcast, and I don't know who his boys are, but he says the opposite, where it's like they all come running back. They always will, and when they do, I'll spit in the face of the people that said I would lose.
Yeah.
Was he kidding? Maybe, but I don't know, man.
I don't think he was kidding. I think
I don't think so either.
He's a little sour.
I think he's making. I think the UFC is making a lot of money off of him, and they're going to keep him getting good name fights. I really do think that's going to happen too. People watch. People go and watch.
I think UFC might have after that first interview might have texted him and said, "Dude, get a little feisty, maybe. Like, you want another fight? Maybe get a little feisty on here."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
something you got to sell it. Yeah, you got to sell it. But
now you're right. Though.
I don't know. This was a fraud check to me. It's a premature fraud check. I'm not going to say like this dude's a fraud. He will never succeed. But I think he's got to surround himself. I think he has to dedicate his life to the UFC, and I don't know if he's there yet. just from the clips I see with him, he's hunting a lot. I mean, I know you have a life with it, man, but you like the people that made it, the McGregors, the Khabibs, all those guys that went through it all, and are the Islam Makhachev, all those guys, they live it. It is not an option. There's no other thing. And they reach that pinnacle. Then they do movies and you do the extra stuff, where I think Bo is enjoying life, which is nothing wrong with that. But it shows in the octagon that he's still very far away from being a top ranked contender in the UFC.
Okay.
To me.
Strong thoughts from Drew. But
Zach, are we still going to try to get you to spar him?
For me to spar Bo, not his next fight.
Zach to spar Bo.
Honestly, man, like I spar. I think I'd spar him. I think I'd spar him. Wrestling, I wouldn't wrestle him.
I don't think
you got to ask him questions at the same time. See a flying elbow coming in, you got to duck it.
Yeah, that might be the last sparring session you ever had. But hey, especially his next fight, be careful. But
I'm gonna go right to his rib, man.
Hey,
right to
we'll
his rib.
We still. I mean, it was a very interesting approach from the Ritter, because we actually still don't even know if Bo has a chin yet. We still don't even find out, because he had that approach.
He doesn't. He hasn't been cracked. Yep.
Drew, UFC Drew, he'll be coming back soon, and we might be starting a little UFC Drew segment.
Nice meeting you, Dom, man.
That's insight.
You too.
He clearly not a big fan of Bo Nickal, but hey.
No, hey.
He's out. He's out. He cut him out. Because we got to move on. We got bigger and better things to talk about here. And welcome to the show, folks. All right, there he is. Mr. Tom Houck, the Claw president, folks. And Claw, if you forgot, they just got off the U.S. Open, the premier sponsor of the U.S. Open. And Tom, welcome to the show. I guess first and foremost, let me ask you how the U.S. Open went and how it was there.
Oh, hey, Zach. Hey, Dom. Nice to see you guys. It was awesome. We were the title sponsor. We had signage, and just Claw was everywhere there. If you were there, it was hard to miss Claw. And so we also had a big booth, and we got to talk to probably 1,000 fans, tons of athletes and coaches. Surprised at how many people have heard of Claw, especially the younger kids. You know, our Instagram has been growing significantly lately. And so that was encouraging. And just everybody, the grassroots support was awesome. The kids are saying this is sick, and the adults are saying this is long overdue. And, so it was just a great week out there, connecting and building our credibility and getting exposure.
Yeah, no, it's very well done professional event, and fun to watch. And, ironically then, Tom, right after the U.S. Open, we have, this Real American Freestyle League announced. And, there's a lot of questions and speculation about that. And it's kind of hard to find exact details about that as I've kind of been searching. But, I guess let me ask you what your initial thoughts are about the Real American Freestyle League.
Well, I guess very, very quick initial knee-jerk reaction is, and this was from a lot of people too. It's Hulk Hogan. It's going to be WWE-like. It's maybe not a great thing for wrestling, but I think that's the wrong reaction. It sounds like, from what I've heard, they're serious about having real wrestling and paying athletes, and we're all for that. Having athletes being able to make a living post college, and so. But as we look at it, we don't really view it as a competition to Claw. They're two very different products. We're a dual meet league with teams and a draft and free agency and everything that entails, with modified rules that we've tested for over 2 years now, designed to increase viewership of wrestling. We thought about doing something freestyle 3 years ago, and that conversation honestly lasted about 5 seconds, because it's just not the way to grow viewership in America, at least from a rule subset. So very different products. We've heard that they're going to do more of a card, UFC ranking, belt type approach. And so that's great. We hope that both leagues can be successful, that we can coexist. it'd be great if we helped each other, which we're of course willing to do. Uh, but we can definitely both thrive, and fans can follow both, and that's all good. The chance that athletes can make money and have more opportunities to wrestle, is a good thing. Our only concern really at this point is competition for athletes. We've heard that they're signing exclusive deals and they don't want their athletes to wrestle anywhere else. And we think that's bad for wrestling. We don't put those restrictions on our athletes. We want them to be able to go out and compete wherever they want and make money. So we're hoping to talk to them about that dialogue. I don't know if they'll listen. I will say a lot of the athletes, or some of the athletes that they've named, weren't athletes that we were really going after anyway. Guys that have wrestled freestyle for a long time and are the best in the world. Sometimes, what they want to get paid is, maybe not necessarily in sync with economic realities. We have to grow viewership and audience in wrestling, to be able to pay people big bucks. And so we weren't going to overpay for athletes. And obviously our rule sets are part folk style, part freestyle, and part some innovations. And guys that have wrestled freestyle for many, many, many years, aren't interested in that. So that's okay. But there'll be some guys on the bubble for sure that we'd like to get and they want to get. And, so it's possible that there's some athletes that we would have wanted to get that will go to Real American Freestyle. And that's okay. There's a lot of fish in the pond. There's a lot of great wrestlers out there. And we look forward to giving them an opportunity. And, we think our plan is great. We've worked on our business plan for 3 years. We have an incredible team, including our advisory board and everybody associated with Claw, and great reputations. So hopefully they both can work and coexist. That's our view.
Yeah, and Tom, that's the case that I made previously, is that I don't see any reason why they could not both coexist. And to your other point, we don't know all the details yet, and so you bring up that they are having exclusive deals. That's interesting. That's news to me, and I also would agree. I don't see how that could be good for wrestling, but there is a ton of space. Okay, and at the end of the day, there's a lot of factors that go into whether this is going to work or not, right? And we don't know all the details. But Tom, I've had you on how many times, and one thing I've failed to ever ask you is really about your history. And because this is going to be a business, really it's a business. You both have upfront money, and that's going to go so far, right? But at the end of the day, it's going to be a business model. And which one of those is going to work? Both, neither, or whatever. But can you tell us a little bit about your history? You said for 3 years you guys have been researching Claw, but even beyond that, your history a little bit.
Yeah, our whole team that we put together is we've tried to get great experienced business people who have experience in media and in professional sports leagues and who have success in businesses and startups. And it just happens that these people also love wrestling, maybe wrestled in college or high school, and see the potential for the sport if some things are changed and if done differently, if you want it to become more mainstream. And so that's huge. In my case, I was an accounting major in college and was a CPA and worked at KPMG, which is one of the biggest accounting firms in the world. I left there after 7 years and started my own trading and consulting business, which I sold to Thomson Reuters about 10 years later. They're one of the biggest financial services companies in the world. And basically retired when I was 39 years old, went into ministry for a number of years. Sort of a serial entrepreneur, so different ministry type stuff, throwing different things against the wall. And then really, for a while, I wasn't really involved in wrestling, but got back involved about 13, 14 years ago and opened a wrestling facility in Northern Virginia and called Top of the Podium. And that was an independent wrestling facility that a lot of people told me would never work. They said, you have to involve other sports. You have to bring other sports in. Wrestling alone will not make it. And we proved them wrong there. We proved them wrong by challenging assumptions, challenging everything about the sport, how it's marketed, what the offerings are to kids, adult programs, different types of tournaments, all kinds of innovations, a top-notch facility. And so we're really proud of that. And we're on a great path for top of the podium when COVID hit and kind of ruined all the plans for that. We were in the state of Virginia, and the governor wasn't particularly friendly to businesses, during that 2020, 2021 period. So anyway, I moved in a different direction. But yeah, I appreciate you asking that. We view ourselves as business people. And, a lot of times when people try wrestling offerings, if they're club coaches or coaches, they view it as wrestlers first. And we love wrestling, so everybody else should. And we start with the fans. We've spent so much time talking to people who don't watch wrestling, going to schools, talking to kids, seeing what they think, hearing what the perceptions are, getting outside of the bubble, and then trying to put together a product that fans will like. Staying true to wrestling, because we want it to be wrestling. We don't want wrestlers to have to learn a new sport. But staying true to wrestling, but making changes to make it more fan-friendly and a better spectator sport. And there's no substitute in our mind for that research. Also looking at other leagues and other sports, sports that I have absolutely no interest in, studying them and trying to learn from them, the big sports that have been around for a long time. And also there's so much innovation going on today in the sports world with alternative sports. And, I thought it was funny. There was an interview with the Wrath guys that I think I just saw yesterday, and they asked about Real Pro Wrestling, which was an effort to professionalize wrestling about 20 years ago. And they didn't really know anything about it. And it's like, how, they're saying they're doing something that's never been done before. Well, if you don't know what's been done before, how do you know it hasn't been done before? But so we've spent a lot of time as business people working on our business plan and working on marketing plans and just evaluating everything in a business plan like business people would and trying to be realistic and objective about it. Yeah, thanks for asking that. My personal sort of forte, I guess, and hopefully Claude doesn't prove me wrong, is not just startups, but startups with things that truly have never been done before. The company I started after I left KPMG, there is absolutely nothing like it in the world. And so doing something that's never been done before is very different than starting a business, where there's lots of competitors already and there's sort of models and best practices on how to do things. It really requires innovation and the ability to challenge assumptions and to think creatively. And hopefully that's what we're doing at Claw, and hopefully it works.
Yeah. Well, Tom, I mean, you've clearly done your research, and that's the interesting thing about the Real American Freestyle is we don't know the research. We don't know any of the data, but you clearly have. You have the resume. I'm fascinated to hear your background because, like I've said, you can be Hulk Hogan and yell and come on and yell. People said I'm kind of like Hulk Hogan a little bit. He does yell a little bit, right? Promote. At the end of the day, but I also spent 15 years in corporate America. At the end of the day, man, it's got to be a business. That's what's going to make it work, dude. Like we've seen it start. We've seen the startups happen before. But we haven't seen sustainability. I have a chart, Tom. Maybe we'll have you back next week so I can break down my chart where I can kind of compare, prepare all the categories. But Tom, what are your thoughts on everything? And then we'll kind of talk about World Team Trials here.
It makes sense when you have something that is successful and it's kind of new and people see it. It makes sense others are going to want to do the same thing. It happens all the time. And I love Claw. I was fortunate enough to be involved in Claw kind of earlier on when you guys were kind of up and coming a little bit, already developed and stuff like that. And I can honestly say I just felt so respected and at home, and everyone was coming up and saying hi. It was awesome. Tom was awesome. I think I had a few things to say about some changes, and Tom, took it into consideration. It was awesome. But like there's going to be more organizations that are going to try to make it so we have money for these wrestlers after they're done competing in college, and I think it's absolutely awesome. Claw is so unique compared to everyone else, though, because it's innovative, like we said. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I mean,
I love it.
It's like Tom said, it seems like REF's going to be like the UFC style, but Claw is a league-based thing. It's GMs, man. We got a draft.
Yeah.
In fact, we got a draft coming up here, folks, where general managers are going to be drafting their wrestlers. I mean, that is about as cool as it gets. And you got fantasy and a lot of other things. And really, yeah, I don't understand. I don't see why they both couldn't work. And I hope, really, both work, honestly, because the more wrestling we get, professional leagues like this, the better. But yeah, Tom.
I got a question for Tom. I got a question for him.
Go ahead.
When are we gonna see BEG with a general manager? I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see BEG general manager. That's what I want to see.
Wait, well, we're gonna submit a video, right? We got to submit a video. It's video competition.
BEG needs to submit its BEG needs to submit its 30-second video telling us why they're qualified.
Hey, we'll put it up. We'll get you up, Zach.
Hey, we got to get to work on that. But that's another thing. Fans, if you're out there, yeah, I guess the last Tom, you want to speak to that for a minute? I mean, kind of last spot is open, right?
Yeah, last spot.
Yeah, the 6 teams, 5 of the general managers have been named. A great group, a diverse group. And then for the 6th spot, we decided to allow fans to submit entries, to become the general manager. 30-second videos explaining why they're qualified. We've been getting them coming in, and some are very qualified, and others you're wondering why they submitted the video, but that's all right.
Are you gonna show them all? Can we see them all at the end?
That's what we'll say when you send yours in, man.
Yeah. All right. Hey, we're gonna get to work.
Just kidding. Just kidding. We're gonna. The deadline for that is the end of May, and then we're gonna pick the sort of the super fan to be the GM of the 16.
Well, I don't know if we're allowed.
I love it.
But Dom, but hey,
I love it.
We definitely need, whether we are or not. Well, I got to get that video. Where's my pen go? I need to write my notes down, make sure I get it to work on that video, baby. Because
I'm excited to be I'm excited to be there. You know what I mean? At whatever I can make with you, obviously. But I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm gonna get all Joe Rogan.
I have to
say. You know what I mean?
I have to say, most of the videos have not been very creative, so I'd be very interested what you guys come up with. I can just imagine.
Well, my initial idea, if you ever watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, when they are pro wrestlers and they come in as Eagles, American Eagles flying in, Mac, I'm going to be like Mac, dude, flying in like an American Eagle for our video. I'm going to
get a look-alike. I'm going to get a look-alike like Mr. Tom. Give him a little hip toss. And then just, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm gonna get my cicada shirt. I'm an enforcer. Get my cicada shirt and just rip it in half and say enforcers for life.
All right.
Is what's gonna happen.
We're gonna talk offline, Dom. We're gonna prepare. We'll connect for this, dude. But folks, it's Claw Wrestling. It's Tom Houck, the president of it. And Tom, I really appreciate you calling in.
Thank you, Mr. Tom.
Final thoughts here for everyone.
Yeah, no, thank you as always for having us. Appreciate it. And you didn't mention that you'll be like the Mel Kiper of our draft in July. Does he still do it? He's still
Mel Kiper,
there, right?
And he was way off on Shador Sanders. So I'm going to be way more accurate. Okay, I'm going to be like the wrestling Mel Kiper. Yes, I cannot wait, folks. Yeah, live.
Yes.
Rob, what is that? July 21st.
Rob is asking a question. Rob, when is the draft and who's covering it? Really fast. I don't know if we covered that one, did we?
It's July 21st, right, Tom? July 21st from Harrah's Casino. I don't think we have the idea. I don't think, Tom, do you even know who all entirely is going to be covering it? But I don't think you have that figured out yet, right?
Yeah, we're still, originally we were just going to kind of informally live stream it. And then there's been so much interest in it and so much buzz, with the social media growth and everything. We're like, we need to up the game here. So we're still figuring out the final details of that. We have a big call about it tomorrow. But July 21st, the list of wrestlers who've registered already is awesome. Tons of All-Americans and members of world teams from other countries, and names that everybody will know. And we're still working on athletes. I'll be in Louisville this weekend, the World Team Trials Challenge, talking to more athletes because some of them weren't at the U.S. Open. And so we're hoping to have 6 stacked teams, 7 weight classes. So we've had about 140 wrestlers register already.
Wow.
And so, we're looking for the best 42. And then the draft will be awesome at Harrah's. It's in conjunction with New Way Combat and their Spartan Nationals. Summer Nationals. We'll be at Spartan Nationals in 2 weeks. But there'll be tons of kids there. All the wrestlers will get tickets to the draft and their families. So we're expecting a, enthusiastic, perhaps chaotic environment. You guys will be there with your booth. Shane Sparks will be part of it. And I think it's going to be awesome. Hopefully we're making a big statement to the wrestling world that, this is legit.
Wow. The youth of America there. And this sounds like there's going to be so much energy in that room. Oh, my goodness. Me and Shane Sparks in the same room. Wow. Let's go, baby. But, hey, that's Tom Houck, folks. And go to WrestleClaw.com to check him out. So, Tom, we'll have to have you maybe back on weekly, bi-weekly or something for updates. But always appreciate you coming on.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
All right,
You
folks.
too.
It's Tom Houck. And, hey, I'm telling you right now, dude, that's I'm pumped up for that, dude. But we got to move on here, and we're going to bring in Kevin. Hey, Cornell Kevin, welcome to the show, because we're going to talk about – we got incredible wrestling this weekend. We got incredible wrestling this weekend. We're going to break it down. Only 2 weight classes are already decided, but Kevin's here with Dom. I didn't even waste time on those graphics, so – Kevin, welcome to the show. Let me give you the chance here. Get your initial thoughts before we get started on what the heck is going on with everything in wrestling.
It's going to be awesome, man. There's a lot of brackets that got multiple NCAA champs in it. So even if you're not a big freestyle fan, you still want to watch the tournament when you got, Gake, Starachi. There's 9 NCAA champions right there, championships. And then you got Parker in there. I mean, these brackets, if anything, are just some dream matchups of guys that we never got to see wrestle each other at NCAA. So I'm pretty excited about it. There's a couple weights that are a little, I'm not too sure about strength-wise, depth-wise, but there's a couple that are going to be fire. I'm looking forward to it.
Fire. Let's start at one of the first fire ones. 65 kilograms. We got Nick Lee. He's coming back. Jesse Mendez, Seth Gross, Marcus Blaze, Bo Bassett, baby. He's got something to prove now all of a sudden. Aiden Valencia, Real Woods, Bo Bartlett, Brock Hardy, and Carter Young. I mean, the fact that Bo Bartlett is down there at the expected 8 seed, we're talking fireworks. Kevin, get us started at this weight, and then we'll go to Dom here.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got, 3 NCAA champs here, the top 3 seeds. But like you said with Bartlett, it's nuts. If you remember, in 2024 at the U.S. Open, he had beaten Nick Lee, so he had thought. His arm was raised. He went off. Then they decided, well, you know what? It was the wrong criteria. So then Nick Lee got his arm raised. Nick Lee went on to beat McKenna, then beat Yanni, then make the world team. So that's how close Bartlett was to possibly being on a world team, and he's the 8th seed. I'm really interested to see how Marcus Blaze is wrestling at this weight. It's 143 pounds, a little heavier than he's used to. Also interested to see the whole, Bo Bassett has had Aiden Valencia's number, right? He's 4-0 against him. But Aiden Valencia was this close to beating McKenna at the U.S. Open, who actually ultimately got the spot at Final X. So it's going to be really interesting. And Brock Hardy's a U23 bronze medalist. So there's tons of good guys in this bracket. Seth Gross, I'm curious to see with like Blaze how he does at the heavier weight, but he's a scrapper, so should be a good. I think that Nick Lee. I have confidence of Nick Lee winning this, and to be honest with you, I hope he does get the spot because I think he's our best chance by far to medal at the World Championships.
Okay, Dom.
Brock Hardy was a runner-up, and he's a 9 seed down there. Absolutely wild. No, same thing. I mean, everyone in this weight's tough, and and you never know who's going to show up. I was just seeing something. Aiden Valencia did not have the best college season, but when it turns to freestyle, he's just an animal, an absolute animal. So I could honestly see him doing super well, Jesse doing super well, Bo doing super well. It's gonna who shows up that day, and then same thing with Final X.
Yeah. Kevin, you mentioned Joey McKenna. Dom, what does anyone know what just happened with Joey McKenna at what is it, Pan Am's there? He didn't win. Right?
No, he lost
Yeah, I
to
saw that.
Destrabats from Argentina, and Destrabats is tough. He's the one that pinned Zane Rutherford at the Pan Am qualifier back before the Tokyo, and he also wrestled Yanni really tough. Yanni beat him 7-4, but he's he's really strong, and McKenna got the takedown on him to go ahead with 11 seconds left, but then he got pushed out with 5 seconds left and lost. It was by criteria. He did the challenge at the end, lost by a point. But yeah, McKenna can be really solid. He can have great matches, but he's been really inconsistent when it comes to those top guys. And we need a guy that can at least go out and beat Destrabats from Argentina. You know, if we have any hopes at all of medaling at one of the toughest weights there is year in and year out.
Yeah, I've always been a Nick Lee fan. He's awesome. He's so tough. I really do think he could also bring us home a medal at 65 kilos.
Yeah, I think
it's going to be. Go ahead, Zach.
Nick Lee, the consensus favorite here, but to me, I mean, what's my storylines I'm looking for? I want to see how Bill Bassett responds here this week. You know, we said, did they figure out the Bill Bassett formula? I don't know. I want to see Bo Bassett. He's got a chip on his shoulder. Let's see him out here and respond. Maybe him up against Marcus Blaze. That would be fun. But we got to move on. Let's talk about 70 kilograms here. We got James Green, PJ Duke, Ian Parker, Will Lewan, Bryce Andonian, Ridge Lovett, Antrell Taylor, Caleb Henson, Brayton Lee, and Jackson Arrington, dude. There's some fireworks here. And can PJ Duke? I don't know. Kevin, what's going on here at this weight?
Well, just like the last weight, we got 3 NCAA champs. Only these 3 NCAA champs are seeded 6th, 7th, and 8th instead of 1, 2, 3. And Lovett, Taylor, and Henson. James Green is as solid as they can get. He's the 7-time world team member. Every time he's put his hat in, he's made the world team at 70. PJ Duke, you know that there's nobody that's promoted this guy the past few years more than me. I love watching this kid. He's a New Yorker like myself, and I've been watching him since he was in 7th grade. Is he ready to beat a James Green yet? I don't think so. Now, I was kind of iffy about it, but when I watched him against Melvin Miller, I kind of thought to myself, I don't think he's quite there yet. But again, there's no bigger fan of him than myself. This kid's a machine. He got 3rd at the World Team Trials last year, the non-Olympic weight ones. He's got big wins over Will Lewan, Bryce Andonian, the 2 guys that are seated behind him. Jackson Arrington, I know he's a 2-time blood rounder, but he's moved up to 57 since then, and he had one heck of a redshirt year going on to first year. So watch out for him. But yeah, I think that it will be a Green Duke final, but I think that Green is. I just don't think Duke's quite there yet. But we'll see. I would like to see a Duke Yanni Final X. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. Before we go to Dom, not a wrestler says Melvin Miller got robbed against Duke. Duke stepped out before that 4-pointer. So, yeah, Kevin, I mean, maybe we'll see.
Yeah,
I
mean, they could have thrown the challenge. I don't think they wanted to throw it that early, but that's tough to say. You know, it happened to like the first 15 seconds. Who's to say that Duke isn't going to wrestle a different way after that if he's actually down or whatnot? It's hard to, you know, say this, then this. But, yeah, you know, Melvin Miller was that close to him.
All right, Dom. What do you think?
No, for real. These youngsters are taking over, and I love it. Is PJ Duke ready? Maybe, maybe not. Will he step up? I think he'll step up to the test. And having 3 NCAA champs down at the bottom is absolutely crazy. None of them are a slouch either. It's so crazy. Ian Parker coming off of silver as well at Pan Am's. Like, you never know what's going to happen in this way. I do think James Green is favored. He's just, when the spotlight's on, you know what I mean? Every time steps up to the plate.
Yeah.
So I'm going with James Green here.
listen, how Ridge Lovett is going to be, I guess these are the Flow Wrestling's expected seeds. Ridge Lovett is a 6 seed. PJ Duke is a 2. Like, okay, sometimes you just say stuff out loud. That sounds crazy. That's something's wrong. Really? Is that
It is
really
crazy. They generally go by the freestyle accolades, you know, and
well,
Ridge
yeah,
Lovett
I
hasn't been
know,
there in a
but
while. But yeah, dude, I hear you though, bro. I hear you. It's like you got an NCAA champ and you got a high school kid, you know. So I hear you,
Yeah.
man. Absolutely.
You know what I think's even more crazy? Like James Green, Ridge Lovett, Antrell Taylor, teammates and coach. Like how crazy is that,
Yeah.
right? Teammates
yeah.
and coaches all in there together.
All right, listen, let's take a little
Absolutely crazy.
break here because we got to call in Starkey. He's one of our loyal call-ins. I want to give him a chance here to talk about whatever he wants to talk about. But remember, Starkey, is no stall zone. You get 2 stall warnings, you're out. Go ahead, Starkey
Oh
on
yeah.
the line.
So you know me, I always come prepared with an agenda. I will never get a stall. Today I'm keeping it really short, just one question, very simple, straightforward. There's so many absolute killer freshmen and high school kids right now. The question is this crop going to be like, will one of the guys in this group be the first guy since Cale Sanderson to actually run a clean slate, undefeated career? Now, a problem, right, is a lot of them are chomping at the bit and they aren't going to take redshirt years. It sounds like for a lot of these absolute superstars. So opening themselves up to losses. And also there are so many of them that they're all going to run into each other, right? It's going to be crazy competitive. So question for you guys, do we have either in college, next year or the next couple years, the future Cale Sanderson who's going to absolutely run the table undefeated?
Okay, that's a good question. We've kind of touched on it, but I'll say this. This is a great class, maybe the best high school class we've ever had coming through. But with that great class comes great competition. To go undefeated in college, I just think it's less than 50%. I think it's unlikely. If I had to bet it, I would say no. I don't know if you'll – I mean, I guess eventually you will get one, but – boy, that is just such a difficult thing to do. Kevin?
Yeah, I would say no way. Early on I had hopes for Yanni. You know, he lost that one match. He was winning 6-1 his freshman year with 30 seconds left. He went in 6-1. He ends up losing, but then he avenged it, and then won 75 matches in a row before losing to Gomez, who he majored the season before. You just have to have one bad day, man. And these kids are in college. There's got a lot going on. A bad weight cut, an injury. Like look at Strachey, lost 2 matches because he was injured. You got to stay healthy. It's so hard. It's unbelievable. And these guys, they're great, but some of them are going to be wrestling each other. And the guys that are going to not take, maybe not take a red shirt, you got to realize that they're going in and they got to beat these guys out that already are, have NCAA titles and whatnot. And I don't see it, man. I think it's gonna be a long time. Eventually things always do happen, right? But I bet you it's gonna be a long time. But a great question.
Yeah.
Absolutely great question.
Dom Zucconi.
Any national champ could get beat. It is on the day.
Yeah.
And a lot of these wrestlers, no matter who they are in Division I at these programs, they're elite no matter what. You might not hear their name at first, but one win, you know what I mean? And it sparks a whole thing. 57 pounder from Ohio State. His name was Cannon, correct? Like, I was wrestling in college, didn't even know who he was. And then, runner up at Big Tens. It's like crazy. So anything could happen. Same thing goes with them being close in weight. I think if it ever got to it where one was undefeated coming up, I feel like the other would want to take that away from him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally. And if I'm not mistaken,
I've
heard things about 5 years in college as well. Just straight 5 years eligibility. I don't know.
That'd be even harder. Cool.
It's tough too because I know Yanni was saying after his second year, everybody is gunning just for you. Like by the time he won his 4th title, he was just so glad to be done with it because he was just getting frustrated because people are like, oh, he's not winning by enough, blah blah blah. But it's like everybody is game planning for you, and there's so many talented people out there that it's just extremely difficult to do this. A lot of these guys have freestyle, aspirations where, you're training freestyle, you get thrown back into the college season, And it's tough, man.
Yeah.
We'll see.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I'm rooting for Jax. We'll see. You know, my fellow North Carolinian. So we'll see, but I don't think it's likely. You're right. There are too many killers that he'll encounter, but I'm rooting for him. But cool.
Hey.
I'll let you guys get back to it. But
All
just
right.
all these
Thank
great
you.
names. The thought was in my mind. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks, buddy.
we didn't even mention Jax Force's name, but Starkey, as always, great call in, and always appreciate it. So, hey, we'll move on here. And to me, the storyline here at 70 kilograms, obviously, I'm most intrigued with PJ Duke, but dude, Ridge, love it. Let's show the man a little respect, right? My goodness, 74 kilograms. David Carr, Quincy Monday, Jarrett Jaquiz, Michael Caliendo, Terrell Bearclough, Peyton Hall, Joey Blaze down there at 7. Oh, my goodness. Ed Scott and Elroy Perkin. Kevin, what do we have to look forward to here?
Well, it kind of shows our depth at 74 kilograms. I mean, just not too long ago, Carr beat Takatani, who's an Olympic silver medalist. And then David Carr gets teched by Mitchell. So that kind of shows you the depth there. Quincy Monday's always solid. Jarrett Jackie's a lot of people don't know this, but he beat Vincenzo Joseph at the Olympic trials. He had a heck of an Olympic trials, and he is a tough dude. He's won a lot of matches that I wouldn't have thought he'd won. I'm really curious to see how Michael Caliendo does, for sure. We don't see him a lot on the freestyle scene, so I'm very curious to see him. And going down the list, I think it's definitely just a David Carr. I think David Carr should roll through everybody, I think.
Okay, I agree. Dom, what do you think here?
I'm going to keep this one short. David Carr is so good. He's next level. I think he's going to run through this competition. I think he's going to have a good match with Mitchell as well. I think it's going to be a good match the next three times around, however long it lasts.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think David Carr is going to wipe through.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm intrigued with the young guys. I want to like Joey Blaze. I'm intrigued at him. But Meet Me at the Creek says Bo and his team talked about on his channel. I guess the weight loss video was a joke. Was it?
Maybe they're jokey guys. They joke around a lot.
Okay.
I think is he talking about
losing 35 pounds 3 days before the fight?
Yeah, that some people were saying that he did it because they're getting like so deep into it, like he knew he was undersized, so he wanted to make it look like he was bigger, so he did that. Who knows? I personally don't think he was that much overweight. I don't think so, but
I don't think he cuts that much.
I heard that too.
Okay. Next comment, Colby Kennedy. Kevin, how do you say Jarrett Jaquez's name?
Jaquez.
All right, yeah. Colby Kennedy making fun of me, dude. We get our weekly making fun of how I talk, guys. South Central PA, dude. I don't know. All right, we all got David Carr. Let's move on, folks. We got a 79 kilograms, Dean Amity, Levi Haynes. Bang! Let's get that rematch. Simon Ruiz, Carson Karchula, Muhammad McBride, Kennedy Monday, and Ethan Riddle. Kevin, what do you got here?
Well, got two NCAA champs at the top, Hamidi and Haynes. I think that a rematch between them will look similar to the NCAA match. My boy Simon Ruiz, Cornell guy, freshman, took fifth at NCAA's. He had a really close match with Haynes at NCAA's in the Conti semis. And also, he was Evan Wick's closest match by far at the U.S. Open. He lost 9-5 to him. With that being said, Hamidi just tore him up at CKLV. It was a horrible matchup style for him because they're both lengthy guys. I think that I'm actually going to go Levi Haynes with this. I think that Levi Haynes gets it done.
Bang!
Yeah, I think he's going to win.
Saddle up, baby. Dom, don't you dare disagree.
I'm a true believer in riding. I love Levi Haynes, but I'm a true believer in riding that wave. And you see it a lot, like people win NCAA titles early on and then kind of like fall down the hill. Hamidi just won an NCAA title, just got done competing. I think he's still riding that wave up. I think it's going to be tough for Levi to beat him because he's just on this train and he's got, you know what I mean? Being at Oklahoma State, David Taylor with them, like they're just feeding him all the right stuff right now on this huge spike up. So it's going to be fun to watch. It really is.
I am curious. I'm curious to see the adjustments he makes because I mean I'm right there with you, Dom. I thought the same. I was surprised how badly Evan Wick beat him.
Yeah.
However, I think that if Hamidi does make Final X, you better believe that David Taylor and company will have Hamidi ready and make the proper adjustments against Wick.
Well,
but
why did they rush Levi into a couple weeks ago? Like, if I'm not mistaken, he would have already been qualified for this, correct?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Who's that? You
like
said
he
Levi?
would have already Levi would have already been qualified for the World Team Trials, correct?
This
NCAA.
is the world. This is the World
Yeah.
Team
Why
Trials
did he go?
up.
Why did he go to? What was a couple weeks ago? Why am I brain farting right now?
Oh, U.S. Open. U.S. Open.
The U.S. Open. Yes, the Claw U.S. Open.
Why did who go there? Or
Levi
who
didn't.
Levi didn't go to the U.S. Open.
Oh, he didn't. Okay.
I don't know. A lot of the Penn State guys didn't go to the U.S. Open.
Yes, that's what I was getting. All right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I didn't understand at first.
No. I was.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Who did Evan Wick? Evan Wick beat Simon Ruiz.
Evan Wick beat
up.
Simon Ruiz in the semi, and then he destroyed Hamidi in the final. He teched him.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But
gotcha.
Hey.
Yeah, I think it's smart Penn State didn't go. That's what I was trying to say. All the other dudes didn't go. I was wondering.
And you can see,
gotcha.
and Dom, you can see how small these brackets are compared to the U.S. Open. There was brackets with 100 guys in them, right?
Yeah.
And then you go here, and you got brackets that don't even fill an 8-man in some of them. So, as usual, Cal figures out, hey guys, let's just get ready for this.
Wow,
wrestle
interesting.
Well, yes,
really tough
wrestling
matches rather than have to go and wrestle 8 matches in one day.
Yeah, less wear and tear on the body, and especially how close they are together. I thought the same thing of how smart it is.
Yeah, I did not think about that. Very interesting points, fellas.
Yeah, no, I guess the only reason like some of these guys will go is because they know it gives them 2 cracks at it. The ones that did qualify, they're like, maybe they're not too confident. Maybe they're like, all right, I'll try the Open. If I don't get that though, I can go to the World Team Trials. But
where's your confidence though after that? You know what I mean? I'd rather be
right.
Going
Penn State
in
guys
ready to
don't
go.
lack confidence, do they?
No, they do not. They do not.
That's a great point. But hey, Hamidi is hot.
Sorry, I see that wasn't a tech. That's my bad. I thought it was a tech with Wick.
Yeah, it was 9-1 Wick from Thank You Not a Wrestler. He sure knows a lot about wrestling for not being a wrestler. But Hamidi is hot. Levi is back, dude. And Simon Ruiz, be careful, dude. Because Simon Ruiz could pull something out. But that'll be fun, 79 kilograms. We'll move on here. Let's talk a little bit about 86, where we get – boy, this is – I mean, again – Kyle Dake, Marsteller, Carter Starace, Parker Keckeisen, Marcus Coleman. I mean, Marsteller beat Carter last time, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Can Carter get through Marsteller and get to Dake? I don't know, dude, but I can't wait to watch it. Kevin, what are your thoughts here?
This is awesome. You got the first 2 seeds are guys that have beaten Jordan Burroughs. Okay. And Jordan Burroughs a few years back. You got Kyle Dake and Starace. You have 9 NCAA titles between them. Parker, NCAA champ. Marcus Coleman has a good hit list, believe it or not. But this, you know what? I was thinking a lot about this. I think after seeing Kyle Dake kind of push Parker around, Parker's not my answer on this. However, when I'm thinking matchup style-wise, Dake is going to have trouble with either one of those, Chance or Starace, in my opinion. He's going to have trouble with those guys. He's not going to be able to push him around. I mean, Starace's the king of limiting real estate on people on the mat, get back centering and going. But I think that I would pick Marcel over Starace again. But I'm hoping that we get to see Dake and Starace just because I know they're teammates and everything, but it just seems like it'd be more of a fun, kind of drama matchup than Dake and Marstar. But any of those top 3 seeds can win. Any one of them. I'm gonna say Dake just because he's such, I think he's a winner and he gets it done. He'll get it done. And I also think Dake can beat Valencia at Final X.
Okay, but who? Better question: who's Dake gonna face in the finals, Marsteller or Carter?
Marsteller.
Ooh, all right, Dom.
Marsteller is so tough, man. I know Strachey's hard to score on, but Marsteller is so hard to score on. He's got long arms, that real short statue, and he's such a pain, man. He's tough. He's tough.
Yeah.
We'll see,
right.
though. This is awesome, though. What a bracket, huh? Even though there's
Yeah.
only 5 guys.
Hey, Claw Wrestling said it best. They want to see a round robin at 86. And I say make it one better. Toss Zach in there. Toss him in there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Give him a few matches
Dom's
there.
trying to get me beat
Let's
up
go.
tonight, dude. I don't know. He's throwing me out against Bo Nickel, dude. I don't even know.
Hey,
but,
I love Chance Marsteller. I absolutely love the man. Such a great story and stuff like that too. I love watching him wrestle. I just always have. But Carter's also a 5-time national champ. Last time I believe he wrestled Marsteller his leg was still hurt, if I'm not mistaken. I think they rushed him into wrestling that at the Olympics, if I'm not mistaken.
Huh.
Maybe,
Olympic
maybe
trials,
not.
Yeah, he was
Right after.
Yeah, that's correct. He was going to make 74, which everybody knew he wouldn't, and then he ended up wrestling.
And then he bumped up
86 or something ridiculous. Yeah.
And he filled out for it. He did indeed fill out for it.
Okay.
Yeah, he's tough, man. He almost beat Hidley at the Olympic trials. Zach, remember? We watched that. He almost beat him.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see Dake and Marsteller, but I'm not counting Strachey out. I'm not.
So who's your pick here in the finals, Dom?
In the finals, I'm going with Dake and Marsteller.
Wow, both of you are going Dake and Marsteller. I'm going Dake and Carter. Come on, Carter. Let's go, dude. What? Unbelievable. No respect for the man. Unbelievable. We got to move on, though. Let's talk about 92. We got Josh Barr, Jacob Cardenas, Aiden Sinclair, Mike Mock, baby, Eric Schultz, Dustin Plott, and Patrick Brophy. Kevin, tell us about this. Is Josh Barr going to pull this out? Cardenas?
I'm gonna go with my boy Cardenas here because Cardenas is really savvy in freestyle. His style is really good with it. He's the only American ever to win 3 U23 medals. No one's ever done that. And I just think that he's going to wrestle a lot more loose in here than he did at NCAAs against Barr. I know Barr was hurt when at NCAAs and Barr beat him, but I think Cardenas is going to win. But I'll tell you what, man, Machiavello and Sinclair, I'm shocked how close he was to beating McAnally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He might have, if not for the fastest parterre spot and then a running start that was allowed by McNally at the end there. But I'm going to go with Cardenas here, but it would not surprise me at all if Barr or Sinclair won. Sinclair tech faulted Barr. It was a couple of years ago, but he tech faulted him in freestyle. So you never know, man.
Okay.
I'll go Cardenas, but not going to be shocked if any of the top 4 win.
Yeah. All right, Dom.
It sucks because Cardenas and Sinclair are on the same side. I think they're right up there in competition. I knew Cardenas was was he a world champ or
no?
he's U23?
Silver, bronze, silver. Yeah.
So I knew he had a bunch of experience in the freestyle background. I really do think he's going to go through this bracket and kind of, if not handle, show how good he is at freestyle.
Cardenas. Okay. We got 2 Cardenas picks. How about, I think that's probably their odds-on favorite. I'm going Mike Mock, baby. Come on, Mike Mock.
Yeah.
Let's give
that guy.
An older wrestler a little respect around here, but hey.
Great interview. Check it out.
Colby Kennedy said word is Chance has been training some with Burroughs, so hey.
Yep, that's true.
We've seen that, and hey,
wow.
We'll see. And by the way, Chance Marsteller, great story. We started the show off with some not so great wrestling news, but other news. We're gonna end the show with just a palate cleanser that should be the front page news in wrestling. It's a great palate cleanser. But before we get there, folks, let's go to 97 kilograms. JILO, Gavin Hoffman, Christian Knopp, and Ethan Lard. Kevin, this is
You
just
guys
a
want to just
deep,
go to the
deep
next
bracket.
weight?
Yes.
You don't have
Right.
anything to say.
I got nothing. Dom, unless you got something fascinating.
Nothing, man. Yeah.
I'm we'll
Join
see who shows
You
up.
can make that weight. You can make that weight, Dom.
We'll see.
Make it interesting. All right. Finally, 125. Demetrius Thomas, Hayden Zilmer, Trent Hilgert, Christian Lance, Jordan Wood, Lucas Stoddard. Anything here, Kevin? This is why it's weight, baby.
I was really surprised that how poorly Hayden Zilmer wrestled at the U.S. Open, because I thought that he could actually give Wyatt a match. I just was really surprised. I'm going to go really off the wall here. I'm going to go Jordan Wood. I know that's kind of crazy, but
love it. Hot take.
Jordan Wood, Lehigh boy, getting it done.
Look at Kevin. Look at Cornell Kevin. He's getting a little risque over there all of a sudden. What's gotten into you, Kevin? Dom, what do we got?
Kevin, explain this bracket to me again on how this works. Is Mason Paris in it at all? Or like, how's that work?
Mason Paris
where he's
is
at?
trying out for the NFL.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So he's done. So the U.S. Open winner, which was a couple weeks ago, they're in Final X. And 57 and 61 kilograms had guys medal in the Olympics and World Championships the year prior, which was Vito and Snyder. So they got a bye. So those two weights are done. So the winner of these brackets will go on to face the winner of the U.S. Open bracket in Final X in a best 2 out of 3. That winner gets the world team spot.
Gotcha. I didn't know that news about Mason. I was like, is he hiding somewhere in Final X? Do we have 2 Final X's? Is he hiding?
It sucks.
Yeah, it really does.
These guys, but Wyatt's got to bring it home, man, and he can do it.
Zilmer made a world team a few years back, correct?
Yeah, and it's funny too, because he was like a 170, I want to say he was like a in the 170s.
Was it 184? I thought it was 184. Maybe not.
Could be, yeah. Regardless, really light, and he beat Gwiazdowski and got the world team spot.
Yes, crazy.
But, yeah,
I'm picking him.
He underperformed for sure at U.S. Open. So
Dom's going Zilmer.
I'm going Zilmer.
Okay, I like
Zilmer.
I like
it.
It's
a good
Zilmer.
pick,
man. We got a Wood, we got a Zilmer. Let's go. I'll go Demetrius Thomas. Why not? Number 1 seed, right? Let's go. But hey, this is why it's weight. And yeah, I saw Mason Paris was hoping to get drafted in the NFL. Unfortunately, didn't get drafted. I don't know. I'm sure he is still trying to make a team. But let's move on. Kevin, you might as well stick around here. The Pan Am Championships men's results here up on the screen. You can read them for yourself. Pretty solid. America won. Kevin, some of your thoughts, and also have the women's results here.
It was disappointing to see McKenna fall, but I wasn't extremely surprised because that Destrabats is tough. Austin Gomez looks really good at 70 kilograms. He took out Ian Parker. He doesn't look good because he took out Ian Parker, but he's really solid. I know that Flo did a card where he was at 70 kilograms too, and he looked really good. So I'm curious. My ultimate, what I'd love more than anything is for Yanni to make the world team and Yanni to avenge the loss to Gomez at Worlds at 70 kilograms. But Evan Wick, I know people are kind of like, oh, we got to get someone else at 79. But let me tell you, man, Evan Wick is tough, and he's been wrestling great. And I hope he gets the spot and shows people what he's made of at the world level, because I think he can do it. Outside of that, Rodmaker, he's at 97 kilograms. I can't wait to watch him at NCAA's next year. I think he's a lot tougher than people think. And Wyatt had some freaking highlight reels, didn't he?
Oh, the throwing the guy down to end it, yeah. Impressive. Dom, your thoughts there?
Wyatt's insane. And I think same thing. Evan Wick, he's always been a NCAA national champ contender. Literally every year. He's been just so good. So I honestly hope he does kind of make a statement here. Gomez, I think, I know Gomez, and I think what has always been holding him back is those dang weight cuts. And when he's himself and flowing, he looks so good. It sucks he's not on the American team. Same thing at 57. You know what I mean? You see Americans still winning it, but they're not on the American team. It goes to show you how good everyone is. Jack's Forest doing Jack Forest things. Kid's crazy. Kid's insane.
No,
It's unbelievable.
Listen, I'll say this. The interesting thing about Wyatt and maybe now even Evan Wick is, I remember not so long ago watching Colton Schultz throw Wyatt off the mat, throw him. And I was thinking, like, Wyatt will never be at that level, right? But it's crazy how Wyatt has leaped to the next level. It was like, it was like Olympic trials or something. Wyatt getting knocked off.
Yeah, Bradley, dude. That was awesome.
But he has so clearly made that confidence jump, dude. Wyatt's confident, and then now Wyatt's at a different level. And you mentioned Evan Wick. And, dude, Evan Wick might have been the best I've ever seen him and bigger than I've ever seen him recently. Can he make that same kind of Wyatt confidence jump? Confidence is so important, man. And, to me, Wyatt's at a level that just a year ago, if you would ask me, I would have said that he'll never get to that level. But here he is. Here we are. And now he's like the new Captain America, right, dude? So it's
love it.
It's crazy, but
You're
meanwhile,
right, Zach. It's crazy to think about, like, David Taylor. The jump that Hamidi and Hendrickson made, and a lot of guys on the team. But those two guys, they got it done, man. Beating 2 NCAA champs each, and these are matches that they just notably would never win in the past. So.
Yeah.
There's 2 more Oklahoma State guys on that gold medal as well as the Heat and Lockett. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're all over the place. And they're just all competing with each other in practice day in, day in, day out.
Well, the confidence is spreading amongst the group now.
It's good.
They're all feeling it.
Good.
So,
and Jax. Yeah.
Jax. Oh, my goodness, dude. That's good. Wow.
Forgot because he's in high school.
Yeah, my goodness. But, hey, there's the women's Kennedy Blades. Ain't no one touching her, dude. Any thoughts on that, Kevin or Dom? And then we kind of try to wrap this up.
The only thought I had is I really thought it was awesome how Jimenez was able to take out that Cuban girl that was Olympic silver medalist, and that was impressive. I thought that was impressive. Outside of that, to be honest, I don't know a whole lot. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. All right.
No, I thought the same thing. Same thing on there.
Folks, what's coming up this week? Thursday, finally, the Rainey Bros are announcing live on Flow. So we have that to look forward to on Flow Wrestling, Thursday at 10. Kevin, where's he going? We've all been saying Iowa. Is it Iowa?
You know what, man? I unfortunately, Oklahoma State, that's Terry's, Hawkeye Terry. He's convinced that they're going to Oklahoma State, and I believe him. With the evidence shown, I believe him. I'm bummed. I wanted these guys to go to Iowa, but I really think they're going to Oklahoma State.
Unbelievable.
And you
know
what?
That's
they were
very believable.
I heard they were verbally committed to Iowa, and they were literally going there, and DT swept them up. This is what I heard. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong. I really want to see him go to Iowa.
Me too. Dom,
it doesn't make sense to me, man.
I mean, I like to see Oklahoma State step up. We're about to see Iowa do some stepping up too, so I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, Dom, you showing yourself to be an Oklahoma State fan tonight. That's what I'm reading here.
I've honestly always been an Iowa fan growing up. I've always been an Iowa fan growing up.
Okay, all right. Hey, that's two big dogs, folks.
Crazy though. It's crazy because a lot of people are like, well, where are these guys going to fit in? But you got to realize these guys' mentalities. And same with a lot of the guys who go to Penn State, they think and know they're the best. That's how they got to where they got. So they don't go in thinking, how am I going to fit in? They go in thinking, I'm going to just fit in. I'm going to get a spot, and I'm going to have great guys to train with. But, you look at all the guys, the weight, like Jax and Vega and everything, and it's just crazy how, you would – I don't know. But these guys think they can do it.
Personally say it, Dom.
Well, the better, I've always, seen it or been with it, too. When you have someone that's just at your level, even better, that's going to make you better. If you're that guy stepping in, I don't know what it is, but I've always been one to go towards where the better competition was, even if it was at your weight. It's only going to make you better. So instead of them running around where you're going to fit in, You know what I mean? Who has
Yep.
spots open? Go to where what's going to make you the best. Even if there's dudes in that spot, who cares if they're, NCAA All-Americans, NCAA champs? If you're that guy, you're going to step up to the plate and be better than them in the long run.
Well said.
At least
Well
the way I
said.
see it.
Yeah, and Dom,
Absolutely.
it does seem like that's the mentality a lot of wrestlers are taking nowadays, right?
Yeah.
And I think that probably is the right way, dude. Do you in your A game, and you in your A game, that should get it done. But we'll find out Thursday, folks. But hey, talking about some wrestlers coming in, some wrestlers going out. In other news, congratulations, Nelson Brands named Iowa City Regina head coach, and Keegan O'Toole named the Missouri assistant coach. So, hey, congratulations to those two young, fine fellas getting jobs, going into the workforce now. Paychecks, right? I was rooting for
You guys ever
Bet Your
get
Brands. Nelson, I was trying to do the Bet Your Brands show. Remember? We do like gambling talk. I guess it didn't work out. But
I watched an interview with him not too long ago, an Iowa-based interview where same people interviewed Spencer. It was one of the best interviews I've ever heard, and I really like that kid, man. He's a really down-to-earth, nice kid.
I agree. I watched that interview as well. I know the interview you're talking about, but very like humble, down to earth, fine young man. Would love to have you on the show sometime, Nelson. But hey, congratulations to those two. But hey, listen, I wanted to end the show with a palate cleanser. A lot of stuff going on, right? But what should have been the best news in wrestling, folks? Freaking Coach Roby, dude. Are you kidding me? Virginia Tech
Insane
wrestling head coach donated a kidney to Sam Latona's dad, and it looks like everyone's doing well. I mean, why? This is what everyone should be talking about. This is the kind of stuff that should be the front line, head page news in wrestling. I mean, what a man. Coach Roby, I mean, I could have told you when we interviewed him. I asked him tough questions, put him on the spot. That's a good dude. You could tell just from that interview. I mean, if you had any questions after that interview, whether Coach Roby is not a good dude, but a great dude, here's your evidence, folks. And I mean, I said I've been promoting Virginia Tech. It's the only warm, good wrestling school to go to. It's warm. Year round, right?
Yeah.
But
somewhat.
He's awesome, dude. And he didn't even want this to get out either. And that's the people that do good behind closed doors. Those are the real champions. And this guy, you're right, Zach, when we interviewed him, we were all picking whether his team would win or Oklahoma State would win while he was sitting there.
Yeah.
And he just was cracking up, and he was like, "You guys are cool. You got a different way of doing things." And he just chuckled. And I love that guy. and I'll tell you what, he's got. When anybody goes to Virginia Tech for recruiting, he gets them, man. Their recruits are unbelievable. So, and now you can see why. Who says this? You got a coach that gives a kidney to a wrestler's dad. What better recruiting? I know it's not recruiting, but what better? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, just an unbelievable thing to do as a human being on a human level.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of stuff that should be the front page news of wrestling, and kind of a tough week, in wrestling news. And but I think kind of as we discussed at the start of the show, and Dom, that you mentioned, we all make mistakes. It's about how you act, how you react going here forward. For Bo Nickal, and all of us at some points in our lives have those moments. So we all make mistakes. But hey, folks, Kevin, I'll give you a chance. Final thoughts, and then we'll go Dom. Final thoughts around the horn.
Oh, thanks for having me on, man. It was a good time. Dom, great to see you again. And appreciate it, Zach.
Yep, Dom.
Thank you. Wrestling is just such it brings the best out of you, and at that real high level, it brings a lot out of you. And for Coach to be doing stuff like this, I hope it inspires others in the future to kind of be that type of person. So that's my final thoughts, basically.
Yeah.
But thank you for having me on.
Hey, it's been fun, folks. It was a loaded show, and hey, if there's any recruits on the fence out there, you might want to check out Virginia Tech. But in the meantime, we got Rainy Bros announced on Thursday on Flow. We got World Team Trials this weekend, so we're right back at it, folks. Wrestling's coming, professional wrestling's coming, and we'll be back soon. But thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. It's BG Wrestling in the no stall zone. So, all right, folks, we'll see you later.